Welcome. So in the previous lesson, we were talking about diffusion, and we also talked about osmosis, which is a type of a diffusion of particularly water molecules. So now in this lesson, we want to talk about active transport. So when we looked at osmosis and diffusion, just osmosis is the same as diffusion, right? We were talking about a passive process, which means it was a process which does not involve any energy at all. The process was natural. It could occur on its own only just because there is a concentration gradient. So we are saying kuti pane pakangoita ma differences in concentrations. That was the thing that was just needed. Unobva watoona water ichita sei chimove, handiti? Pakangoita ma differences in concentrations, waibva waona ma particles achimove from one place to the place yaari lessly concentrated. But imagine this. Let's say, for example, plant redu ndizvo riri kuda ma-nutrients. Mukati maro mutori nema-nutrients arimo. Pamwe ma-nutrients iwo akawanda kudarika ma-nutrients ari outside. But the plant needs what? More nutrients so that arimo mariri anyatsokwana. So normally if we think in a diffusion way, tichiti isusu ma molecules edu are supposed to be going outside, and it. So let me just put it in writing like this. And trukuti isusu, you have a plant, you say this is the plant, right? And here we have the soil. So we were saying that let's say kuti toti mune ma nutrients 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. But our plants need how many nutrients? It needs 10 nutrients. And it then kusoil kuno kune 1, 2, 3 nutrients. And it so kune 3 nutrients edu aya. What happens now is that this plant is so much in need of what? Nutrients. But zviri kunzi wazvifunga in terms of diffusion. We were saying kuti particles would move from a region of high concentration to a region of low concentration. So in other words, zvaifana nge zvichitichi robva raenda ukoko. That would be what? Diffusion. And it, are we together? But now our topic now is looking at active what? Transport or active uptake. Where we are now saying we don't want this what? Diffusion. What we want here is this soil, yes, rine ma nutrients are, but we want its nutrients iwawa kuti abve ukoko achienda chi ukoko. Are we together? So it's now then opposite with what? With diffusion. And it because my nutrients edu akubva from a place of what? Low concentration achienda to a place connection high concentration. And it so this is active uptake. So which means there is need for something here which would then facilitate that process to happen. And it because naturally it wouldn't occur. Then there is need for a certain species X. Then this guy X is the one who takes what? Achitora kubva kune low kuku achinonoisa muplant mune high. And it achitora kubva kune low aisa muplant kunechi mune high. So this is the basic overall idea of what active transport is. And it so ndo yatada kuti tichitanga tasei kuti titarise. And so let's go to the first point. First point here advanced active transport is the movement of particles through a cell membrane from a region of low concentration to a region of higher concentration using energy from respiration. So respiration normally produces energy which is in the form of ATP. adenosine triphosphate. So this adenosine triphosphate or energy has to be used by something, and that something has to take molecules from a region of what? Of lower concentration to a region of high concentration. Are we together? So this movement is what we term to be active transport. So when you write a definition for active transport, you have to highlight number one, lower concentration to higher concentration, then using what? Using energy from respiration. Then let's go to the examples of active transport. Energy is needed because particles are being moved against the concentration gradient, and it. So, like I said earlier on, and my particles edu anenge like I told you that there's energy that is needed, right? Nekuda kwokuti chinhu chinoshanda kumuvhisa maparticles chichitora kune low concentration chiendesa kune high concentration chinofanira kunge chine energy, and that movement iyoyo it's being said kuti iri against the concentration gradient, and it. So it's opposite to the direction that they will naturally move, which was by diffusion. And so examples of active uptake include uptake of glucose by the epithelial in the villi of small intestines, by the kidney tubules in the nephron. Then also active uptake of what? Ions from soil water by root cells. So these are the examples of active uptake of glucose and uptake of ions. And now we want to look into this active uptake, like what exactly is happening. Now let's look at this diagram, and here we have our double membrane here, right? In a double membrane here, let's study two things here. In the outside of the cell, we have lower concentration, and then in the inside of the cell, we have higher concentration. But still, we want those things that are outside the cell. So, since we need these things that are outside the cells, these ones, to my mineral, to my ions, and we have to hire this thing that is called a carrier molecule. So the carrier molecule is the one that will then use what? ATP. Richashanisa ATP kuita sei. Let's try to look at this carrier molecule rakadai. Saka ngatimboti carrier molecule yedu tomboriita nge like tombochita like chakadai. Let's look at it like this here, and then ndobva ndaisa this molecule panapa. Is that okay? Yes. Ndaisa molecule yedu apapa, right? Panoshanda ATP kashanda ndizvozve inobva yakonzeresa kuti ichi chienda uku, right? Yadai. Parinodaro panapa paita sei? Pobva pavhurika. Are we together? Panapa vhurika molecule redu robva raita sei? Robva rapinda. Saka rapinda kudaro, richingobva kupinda rabuda kudai so, chobva chanodzokera to its position. Chobva chamedza futi, chodzokera into position, chomedza futi, chodzokera into position, chomedza futi. But kuti chidzokera into position chichimedza, it requires this energy, which is what? Which is ATP. Are we together? So tichiri continue on it. Saka tataura nezve carrier molecule yedu, we emphasize the importance of ATP such that kuti rinokwanisa kuti say refunction, and it. So now active uptake yedu inenge yava the movement of this molecule via this carrier molecule ichipinda muno. And as you can see, kunoku, because kuno kune low concentration, kuno kune high concentration, we had a concentration gradient, yanga ichibva from high to low. Are we together? But isusu movement yemaparticles edu yakubva manje from this low end ichienda to the what? To the high end. Saka yakubva yaenda against the concentration what? Gradient, and it. So that's how it goes against the concentration gradient. So active transport is the transport of what? Of molecules from a region of low concentration to a region of high concentration against the concentration gradient by using energy from respiration, which is ATP. So that's basically what the active transport is primarily about. Then the last part, let's look at how protein molecules move the particles. Try to describe apa ponchitaura kuti chinochinja mashape chichimedza chichinja mashape chichimedza. Let's look at what they are trying to say. So active transport works by using carrier proteins embedded in the cell membrane to pick up specific molecules and take them through the cell membrane against their concentration gradient. So the substance, first of all, it combines with the carrier molecule in the cell membrane. Then number two, the carrier transports the carrier transport substance across the membrane using energy from respiration to give them kinetic energy needed. So kinetic, to give them kinetic energy is to just basically give them what? Movement. Are we together? Which is movement across the membrane. To change kinetic energy needed to change the shape and move the substance through the membrane. And treatise, so there's need for this kinetic energy to change the shape. And then the substance is released into the cell, which is the third part. So that's how basically the protein molecule moves the particle. So probably while you're in an exam, and then it asks you to describe how protein molecules move substances in what, or how protein molecules facilitate active transport. So how they facilitate is that number one, the substance gets to be attached to the carrier protein, and then the carrier protein uses energy from respiration to give kinetic energy to what? To give kinetic energy to change shape and to move the substances. So the kinetic energy is being used by what? By the carrier molecule, such that the carrier molecule changes its shape. By change shape, it will be a movement of what? The substance through the cell membrane, and the substance released into the cell, into the inside of the cell. Saka kana tadaro tetapedza chi inonzi active uptake yedu. Saka active uptake, osmosis, and diffusion, those are the three major processes anoshanda for movement of substance. So pese paunozo explainer in other topics that substance moved from this to there, you'd have to aid whichever water. It moved from this to there by osmosis. It moved from this to there by active uptake. It moved from this to there by what? By diffusion. So that's how you have to describe each and every movement within the cell. And